And to be honest, that intimidates us quite a bit. The weird thing about Cape Town is just its contrasts. You know, the reputation of this city really precedes itself. Everyone we spoke to before we moved here told us two things: that we'd love it and that we'd need to be careful. It's one of those places people fall hard for, the stunning views and luxury lifestyle, but it's also a place where you learn a new relationship with your front door. We came to find out what it actually feels like to live inside of all of that, and why, despite everything, this city pulls people in the way it does. What is this massive pull of Cape Town? We're gonna find out. We gave up a fixed home address to get to know interesting places in the world. And our curiosity has led us into a totally new chapter. Living in South Africa. To warm ourselves up to this part of the world, we just made an unforgettable road trip through its neighboring country, Namibia. This was just a 2-week vacation, but usually we like to stay somewhere long enough to understand it. Soon after flying into Cape Town, it was clear that understanding this city, from its unmatched beauty to its gated neighborhoods, was going to take some time. What we had to figure out before coming to Cape Town was in which part of the city we should live. When asking our friends who had been here before where to stay, we were often presented with this little city map. The green areas are where you want to be, and everything outside of that is not really recommended to live in or, at times, even visit. Of course, Cape Town's neighborhoods cannot be put into such simple categories. They are as diverse as their residents, many of whom live comfortably outside of those tiny green zones, like the beautiful district of Bo-Kaap, which we will get to know in the next video. But as first-time visitors, we were told over and over to stick to these particular areas. We ended up settling for Seapoint, one of Cape Town's most affluent quarters that stretches along a beautiful and roaring coast. It's a bustling area and well known for its promenade that gets super busy on the weekends when everyone wants to be in the fresh ocean air or in the ice-cold water. Our small apartment here would become the base for many adventures over the next few weeks. And there were definitely some new things here to get used to, but more on that later. For now, we were aching to go and check out one of the obvious things that Cape Town is so famous for: its stunning scenery. Just a couple kilometers south of Seapoint lies Clifton, and its beaches are indeed one of the most beautiful in the city. But in my opinion, an even crazier view appears from the next beach over. This is Camps Bay, where you can sunbathe in between the towering mountains and the cold but gorgeous ocean. On the weekends, this place gets packed with people in their best outfits looking to relax at the water. I'm starting to see why people say that Cape Town is just so cool and so beautiful. Don't you think? I feel like I've never seen a place where you have such insanely dramatic mountains right next to the ocean. It just looks so stunning. It's easy to see why the natural beauty of Cape Town is one of the most obvious reasons why people love living here. No matter where you are in the city, these beautiful mountains paint your background. It's a view we easily fell in love with and will probably never quite find again somewhere else in the world. But very soon into our stay, we also learned that there's a catch. And it weighs pretty heavy. If you want to see these mountains up close, you're faced with one of the other realities of living in Cape Town. No matter how tempting, it is not recommended to just hike up by yourself, because of the danger of getting mugged. Cape Town solves that problem by organizing many group events, like trail running or guided hikes, which are awesome. At the same time, safety in numbers when going out into nature isn't the only way in which residents of Cape Town take precautions for their own safety. One thing that you will instantly notice when you move to Cape Town is that all the houses have big fences around them, and there are a lot of bars on the doors and windows. And to be honest, that intimidates us quite a bit. In order for us to get into our house, we have to go through 2 gates before we even reach our back door. And yeah, we have these things in front of our window. But really, what I realized is that has a lot to do with the fact that we are just not used to this. I did some research on how common it is actually to have bars on your doors and windows in the world. It's actually far more common than you would think. For example, if you are from Southern Africa or Latin America, the Caribbean, Central America, or even many parts of Southeast Asia, the Middle East, it's very normal to have bars on your window and doors, and it wouldn't raise an eyebrow to people coming from these places. But if you're from mostly Europe, rural Europe, like me, or Switzerland, New Zealand, South Korea, Japan, or the Nordic countries, then it can be expected that you're not used to these bars. You know, that really puts into perspective how probably half of the world population is not alarmed by these bars at all. Safety is definitely a relative and subjective thing. I have a story to demonstrate this. When we took our Uber, our taxi from the airport to this apartment, the driver, who was South African, said, "Look at all these people parking their fancy cars in front of their home and still going to sleep." So when we discussed safety with him, he meant to say that Cape Town is so safe that people can sleep knowing their cars will not be stolen right in front of their house. Even though to us, that is maybe not something that would make us feel safe, just because we are not used to this context. For South Africans, Cape Town is definitely one of the more safer cities in the country. I think it's good to put these things into context. That also helps, you know, overcome the culture shock that we are experiencing a little bit in Cape Town. I don't know how we're gonna feel in a couple of weeks living here. Is that feeling going to change or not? We'll see. We are foreigners here. We could afford to rent in a part of Cape Town where most people don't worry about their safety the way the rest of the city does. That's a privilege, and most people who live in Cape Town don't have it that way. Just 15 minutes from where we live, Cape Town is a different city. The people who live there deal with a level of violence we will never see. We heard the stories, but we could never go there. So for us, living in our part of Cape Town started to feel like living in sort of a bubble. Like a pocket of space where things feel more normal and easier than what's around it. And the more time we spent here, the more bubbles we entered. These bubbles aren't random either. The places that feel safe here and the places that don't were drawn that way by law under a regime that ended just over 3 decades ago. And even though many things have changed since then, the bubbles of ease still map onto the geography of apartheid. All of this made us wonder, why do people choose to live in a place that feels so complicated? Again, Cape Town has the answers. Because for those who can afford it, life in Cape Town can be lavish. And we decided we were gonna get a taste. For the first time in our lives, Ali and I treated ourselves to a fine dining experience, and not just at any place. About half an hour from the city, in the lush Constantia Valley, sits La Colombe. which consistently ranks as the best restaurant in Africa. Over the next 4 hours, we were brought one tiny deliciousness after another and treated like king and queen by some of the most remarkable waiting staff we had ever encountered.
It's like the seas.
Oh wow, stunning.
It was a true spectacle, and not just the food, but the whole experience blew our minds.
Can't manage to get it in there.
Cape Town is easy to fall for, but really loving it is harder.
That was crazy.
We've been here only a few weeks now,
There she is.
I knew it.
long enough to feel the pull of this city, but not long enough to understand what it asks of the people who stay. Whether we will fall for it ourselves, ask us in a few weeks. In the next video, we'll reveal the very specific reason that pulled us in to live in Cape Town for a while.
We are rushing through Seapoint towards the water because we got a message that there's something really special over there.
Let us know in the comments what you think of Cape Town, and don't miss the next stories by subscribing. See you then.